What is going on YouTube? It is your boy Rogue Panda here bringing you guys another video. Today's topic is going to be an interesting one compared to last time. Last video we were talking more about a battle, who would win kind of deal, but today I'm completely talking about just one character and how I think this character amazingly impacted their story and ran narratively. Tsunade has got to be one of the best written female characters in all of fiction, let alone shonen and let alone Naruto. I know that in the fan base, she doesn't get as much love as she deserves, and to be honest, I don't know why. This character is just so well written, and today we're going to be getting into that. Start things off, let's go over the whole retrieving Tsunade arc and the beginning of it. So, way back at the beginning of Naruto, when Naruto was this overzealous kid, Naruto was able to talk and talk and talk all the time about how he was going to become the Hokage, but it never really felt real. And I think that was probably one of the most important aspects of this arc. But before we get too into the juicy stuff about this arc, let's get into first how much I appreciate Tsunade's introduction to the show. When we see who Tsunade is going into the show, she is just a cynical and zealous person. All she does is gamble, and she's awful at it too. So it's a really weird introduction, especially when we're supposed to be led to believe that this person is lined up to become the Hokage and is one of the 3 students of the 3rd Hokage. So it is a bit of a mystery about how this woman could possibly be in that level. So, with our introduction into Tsunade, I thought she was an okay character. One thing that I love about her, and this actually applies to her throughout the series, is she feels like a very human character. And she's somebody that I can relate to throughout the entirety of the show. With that being said, one of the biggest reasons that I loved her, and we'll get into this more later, is that her dedication to Naruto and when people don't believe in him, just her overzealousness to believe in Naruto is amazing. And I feel the same way too, because watching the series, I just felt proud of Naruto as a character and all the things that he did. Again, we'll get more into this later, but just the humanity of Tsunade is fantastic. But with her introduction, also a little bit later into the arc, we get her fantastic backstory. She is somebody who has lived her life, seen people die. She has had her brother die, the love of her life die, and it seems like everything that she ever wanted was completely ripped away from her. And we're left with just this hollow shell of a human being who only just wants the pleasures of life because she's lived the life of a shinobi. She's been the responsible person. She's been the leader. And she doesn't want that for herself anymore because it realized that it only brought her more pain. And then comes into the picture Naruto Uzumaki. And their arc, just starting it off with this gamble that Naruto's like, I will master the Rasengan. I will do it no matter what. And Tsunade just doesn't believe it. She's like, no, this isn't how life works. This isn't how society works. You can't just set your mind on something and just be able to do it. And then jumping on later into the arc. Actually, first, let's cover probably one of my favorite things about Tsunade ever. The fact that it actually felt like she was going to take the deal with Orochimaru. So, getting back into this a little bit, her deal with Orochimaru. In the previous arc, as we saw with Orochimaru, when he lost his arms in the fight with the 3rd Hokage, he goes to Tsunade because he knows of Tsunade's fantastic healing abilities. He's like, okay, Tsunade, I will bring back to life using my resurrection ninjutsu, and I will bring your brother and your husband back to you. And when we heard this, we were like, oh, the hero would never do this. But when we see with Tsunade, this is different. She could actually take this deal. And it added this layer of stress and also this layer of humanity because if you were that person, if you ran away from your hometown and somebody threatened to destroy your hometown and you knew that they were going to destroy your hometown, but they said, hey, those 2 people that you loved, I'll bring them back to life. But if you do that, I am going to destroy this place. And it just, and you know that, like, in your own heart, like, it would be like, would I make that choice? I mean, I feel like I would, to be honest. And so Tsunade struggling with that was just such a human moment. It felt real to me. And it was the first time I really connected with Tsunade. And this was like pretty early on into her introduction. This was a super well done, just narrative plot line, and I love it so much. Moving on back to everything with Tsunade and Naruto, when we see Naruto protect Tsunade from Orochimaru and Kabuto after Tsunade just has a last minute decision that, you know what, I'm not going to ruin the Leaf Village, I'm going to protect the Leaf Village. We, first of all, see kind of the progression of Tsunade. We know that she actually was struggling with this, and that maybe she does have a little bit of hope for the future of the Leaf Village. And so we kind of see this turnaround with Tsunade, and I kind of get to this point where I'm kind of admiring her because, like, again, I don't know if I would do the same thing. And then the whole fight with her and Jiraiya and Orochimaru, and then Naruto and Kabuto breaks out. And this is a fantastic fight. Um, Probably one of the better fights in original Naruto. I think a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's entertaining. It's pretty cool to see Orochimaru armless just beating the crap out of people. It's kind of funny. But when we get to the part where Naruto finally forms a Rasengan for the first time using a Shadow Clone. First of all, this is a mind-blowing scene. We're not going to get too much into Naruto stuff here, at least as a character, but that was such a great scene for honestly both Naruto and Tsunade. And just the turnaround of her right then and there becoming kind of a human being again. That was when it finally hit hard for her and when it finally hit home that Tsunade became the Hokage in that scene. And man, it's so powerful, and I think that scene was honestly what made me love Naruto. The Chuning's exams were great. That arc was fantastic. But this arc is what made me love Naruto and what made me decide, you know what, I'm going to finish watching this series. Because I had a little bit of struggles finishing it first, but I can't. But continuing on, we'll kind of skip ahead to Shippuden Tsunade a little bit, and then we'll just start wrapping it up. I know this is a shorter video compared to last time, but not a whole lot to talk about it compared to the last one. But I think that the biggest thing with Tsunade and Shippuden, something that we see is just that faith in Naruto that was built in that scene right there. The way that it is carried out in Shippuden is absolutely fantastic. And I know that there's plenty more to talk about with her and Sakura and her and Kakashi. There's plenty to talk about there, even with the Madara fight. But I want to talk about her relevance to the story and as Naruto as a character in general, because I think that this is something that's kind of overlooked. Because I think that a lot of people can kind of hate her because she's directly tied to Sakura, and everybody hates Sakura, which, trust me, that video is coming. So I don't get it, to be honest. I think Sakura is a fine character. But again, a topic for another day. But moving back on to Tsunade and Shippuden, I think that the faith that Tsunade has in Naruto throughout all of it, the moment where she is lifting up the two village elders and saying, "No, I will not hold back on Naruto, and I will let him prove himself here." And then right after that, he goes and he figures out Sage Mode, and he proves everybody wrong and becomes a village hero. Tsunade was like one of the few people who, after just seeing Naruto just shine as for who he is just once, it just exuded faith in him. And this was something that I think really helped carry Naruto, because Tsunade felt like a mother or a grandmother character, whichever you want to fill that in as, but she felt like that character to Naruto. And her relationship to Naruto was so important to this series, I think. I actually think that this series would be 1,000% worse off for her. And ultimately, I think when it comes to deciding a character's worth, deciding whether or not that character made a positive impact on the series, a negative impact on the series, or an impact in general in the series is what's so important more than anything else. And Tsunade was just everything. Like, though I will not say that she had as important role in the plot as Kakashi or Sasuke or even kind of Sakura, she mattered. And what she was to Naruto was something that nobody else could have even remotely given to him. Tsunade was just a character who exuded greatness with a kind and loving heart, and I don't think that I would have rather anyone else taken the fifth Hokage seat over her. In fact, I hate Danzo like so much just because he took Tsunade's place for a little tiny fraction of a bit, and that is one of the biggest reasons that I hate Danzo. Just because I love Tsunade so much more than Danzo. Um, I do think that there is a little bit of a cool aspect with her too, with her whole trying to stay young thing. Um, I do think that this is a very interesting plot line because it does show that even though she does change a lot throughout the series, she still kind of holds in a little bit to that like this like kind of secular mentality where she has to look young and that she isn't kind of good enough within herself. And I think that all these things combined just add this really great element to Tsunade. And when you take all of these together, just her humanity, her dedication, and her character development, you get this absolutely fantastic character who, honestly, it's so hard for me to decide top 10 Naruto characters, but she's just, she's astounding, and she's so well written. But without repeating myself too many times, I would like to ask every Naruto fan ever who has read the series, watched the series, and is like, oh, Tsunade sucks and stuff like that. I'd really like you to just go back through it and read again because what this character offers is just something that not a lot of other fictional characters in general do. And definitely would say that this series benefits from her more than anything. Her passion, her love, and most importantly, her heart is beyond awe-inspiring, and it's something that I think all fans need to take a second look at. Thanks for listening to my little podcast-esque rants today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to next week as we are talking about a non-anime based theme. I'll be discussing Star Wars a little bit, so look forward to that. And next time, I'll either be covering Sakura if I kind of get it recommended enough, and we'll go over Tsunade's relationship with Sakura because I think that Tsunade's relationship with Sakura is more relevant to Sakura than it is to Tsunade, but obviously I'll get into that more if I make a Sakura video. But I don't mind doing Bleach, Dragon Ball, whatever kind of character analysis. I'm kind of cool with whatever. There's a lot of characters that I like and that I'd love to talk about. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope I'll see you next week. Rogue Panda out.